This one here, lack of sufficient focus, easily distracted, is another common challenge that may prevent you from achieving true leadership mastery. In fact, lack of focus can prevent you from achieving anything meaningful in life, because if there's something meaningful that you want to do, that you want to accomplish, there's some doing, and then it requires some focused effort, some energy, and that needs to be sustained over a certain amount of time for whatever it is that you're doing to flourish. And unfortunately, the monkey mind, and I'm talking about the monkey mind a lot in my videos, it's the opposite of a high-performance mind. The monkey mind is this little monkey bouncing around all over the place, untamed, the untrained mind. And the problem there is anything that comes up, that monkey mind gets attracted to. So let's say you say, now I block out some time, I want to work on this presentation, and you may even turn off your messaging on the smartphone. But then you sit there for maybe 10-15 seconds and maybe something pops up on your desktop screen, maybe some ad, or you hear something outside from the window, some sound comes through. Whatever it is, there is some little thing happening, and immediately it basically gets your attention. The mind is now jumping onto this one. You're getting out of the flow. So that's what I'm saying, easily distracted. And that is a problem of the monkey mind. Focus requires a trained mind, but it also is not, focus is actually complex. To train focus, there is a lot of different aspects that you have to work on that is part of the high-performance mind framework. You need a lot of awareness to really become aware of what's happening, and then in real time, from all those events happening, you have to become aware of them. That's fine, but then you have to create this zoom, right? This filter. When you block these other things out, they're not currently relevant, and then you keep this. It's like the laser typically, right? But let's not use a laser, but let's use a light that you put some emphasis on this certain thing. But that also requires a lot of hard work from your body. The body needs to work properly. That means your body has to have a lot of resources to produce a sufficient amount of neurotransmitters. It also needs to be able to break those down again. And neurotransmitters are used for the signal processing in the brain, as an example. And yeah, they need resources. That means lots of minerals, micronutrients, but also a lot of intermediate work. Enzymes need to be produced, a lot of cofactors. There needs to be energy in form of ATP. ATP is the energy currency in your cells that your cells produce, and that then can be used to produce these neurotransmitters or enable the signal flow of them. So energy is used. And focus therefore requires a lot of energy, and if your body is not in great shape, you had maybe a poor night of sleep, then the body is already in a bad shape. If there's a lot of stress around you, your body is stressed. Heck, there will be not sufficient amount available for your body to create this focus. So that's why when people try to work on the brain in terms of let's say they learn some techniques to better focus. So there's a lot of ideas out there that can be done, that can be experimented with, but they don't pay enough focus on the body. It's not going to work. On the other hand, if they're not training their mind and not cultivating more awareness, they will be dragged into different or identified with different thought activity without recognizing. So thoughts are popping up all the time, and let's say there is one thought, this is the one that you want to keep focusing on, you're working on solving a problem, but then the mind wanders off because new thoughts are coming up, and you get entangled with these new thoughts, losing track of what you actually wanted to do. This is when the lack of awareness is there. So those two things, insufficient resources on the body side, insufficient energy levels to sustain focus, but also lack of awareness are usually big topics that are there. And then of course the brain can have simply also problems sustaining focus. There are things out there, conditions like ADHD, you probably heard about this one. But at the end of the day, there's always a spectrum on how much ADHD is actually there, and many people suffer from this. I mean, in this day of information technology, with all these smartphones and constant on and all these different channels going on, I mean, who to blame if there is something like ADHD, if it's all this stuff streaming in all the time? But it could be, for instance, that it's just also a processing issue of the brain, that the brain waves, basically, there's different frequencies they're on, and sometimes you may have heard there's delta, theta, alpha, beta, and so on, different brain states, and sometimes the brain is not able to sustain, for instance, higher amount of beta waves, which is needed for the thinking mind over the course of the day, and lowering maybe some of the lower brainwave states, like such as theta, which usually you encounter when you're falling into sleep. And so that is a problem with the brain's capabilities itself. So it's again another problem with the body that is there, that could lead to some of these issues. So at the end of the day, that's why I say focus is a complex problem. It's not that easy to work on, but it's good to become aware. Is this a problem for you? And if yes, try to basically try to become aware and identify when this is happening and what type of instances, and also become aware that this could be related to a combination of different things. But I think the first thing here of this video is just increase awareness that this is something that's there. It's something more complex. It has different aspects to it, like awareness, mind and body. And the solution usually going forward is a process which usually needs different aspects that need to fall together. But the good news is it's doable. And when I work with clients on improving focus, using the high performance mind training, usually results are there quickly. So it is something it can be tackled. But that would be subject for a different video.